This is Boxes and Briefs, a podcast with real-life business stories. But we will be asking the hard questions and challenging traditions. So broaden your thinking with fresh perspectives and solve problems for business success. Welcome to another episode of Boxes and Briefs. My name's Lisa.
I'm Kelly.
And today we have with us Sam Martin. Hi, Sam.
Hello, guys.
How are you?
I'm very well. You've caught me on a very good day today, actually.
Excellent.
Ooh, good.
We like to hear it.
Yeah.
So Sam runs First Point Electrical. It's his business. They do both residential and commercial, and they work in Central and West Auckland. Does that about cover it?
That covers it, but also a big side of the business is heat pump and air conditioning as well.
Yes.
The third part of it there.
Third, hold on. 1, residential. 2, commercial. 3rd, heat pump.
Yeah.
Got it.
There you go.
I can do maths.
You can. Look at you.
Okay, so how did you start? Why the electrical business? Why go out on your own? What's the story?
Okay, so I'm from my dad was an entrepreneur. He owned like fashion stores throughout the Wellington area back in the 90s. So it was always I always grew up knowing that I wanted to do that too. I wanted to have my own.
You wanted to wear leg warmers and puffy skirts.
Yeah, exactly. So the thing that excites me about business is it can be as big as you want it to be, or as big as you dream it to be, as big as the work that you want to put into it.
Your limits are your own.
Yeah, exactly. So there was a combination of that. Dad always said, hey, you've got to get a trade business. I had a musician. I'm a musician, but I also had a really into it musician brother, and he did the musician thing, and to the stress and worry of my parents, and they said, right, Sam, you can't do that. You've got to get a trade. You've got to get a trade.
Save the family.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly. And so I thought, okay, electrical sounds the most interesting. It sounds the most clean. Let's do that. And I always
opposed to plumber.
As opposed to a builder. These people I admire and respect and work closely with these days.
Yeah.
But I thought that sounds the most interesting, and one day I can also turn it into a business, I think, as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So then what was the deciding factor to start First Point?
The deciding factor to start First Point, well, as I mentioned, I am a muso.
Yeah.
I haven't done it so much in recent years, but my 20s was spent as MC Mass doing, MCing and rapping to hip hop and drum and bass music. I was really into it in my 20s. I started First Point when I was 25, by the way. So
that's young.
I was 25. I was about to set off to Australia. We'd landed a gig. We were playing support to a band called Grinspoon and Cora from New Zealand. We were paying support to them, to Fresh Fest. And so on the way to that concert, I had a bit of trouble with my employer at that time, because I used to take the music so seriously, and he didn't really want to get too much on board with that. So came to the crunch. It was hard for me to get the time off, etc. So I called in on the way to the airport and quit my job. And just said, I can't, I'm off to be a rock star, man. I don't need you anymore. And so that was that, really. So we went off. We went to Australia. It was like a competition, and we won the competition in support. There was 4 of us that went across there, and we were the only ones from New Zealand. We won that competition. I thought I was going to be a superstar, and I said, the next time that when I go back, I'll be only doing the electrical thing for myself.
Okay.
And so First Point Electrical was born from that trip back to Australia. I had to basically start from ground zero, pretty much.
Why did you choose the words First Point?
I wanted something that sounded huge. I didn't want to put my name to it. A wise man once told me you shouldn't put your name to a business. If you ever want to sell it, it can be quite limiting.
Okay.
So I wanted it to be a name that could be one person, or it could be 30 people. You wouldn't know. And at 25 and having a desk in my bedroom and just starting off, it sounded bigger than it was. So that sounded good to me.
Sounds like you dream big.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. How else do you dream?
Good question.
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't think I've ever dreamt small.
Yeah.
Okay, so how long have you been going now?
We just celebrated 15 years last month, September. Actually, the official date is October the 29th, so it's literally just ticked over.
Nice.
Yeah.
So in that 15 years, was there a time when you felt like you'd made it? You are officially an entrepreneur.
There was a few big wins along the way. That first time you score that massive job. There was 2 jobs that we did. One was for the Takapuna Library. It was like Takapuna Library is like a super library. It's like a massive complex. Reading Cinema was another massive job. I think when you get jobs and all of a sudden you're looking at the pricing and that, and you're in the six figures, you just go, wow, how did this ever happen? So I think that was one of those moments. I distinctly had another moment where we were outside of our kind of workshop area, and I could see my truck parked there. I could see 4 of my vans parked there. I could see all the guys busy as beavers in and out of the vans loading stuff in. And I just thought, wow, this came from something that I just dreamt up
on a plane.
or set up in my bedroom, the desk in the corner there. And then the next milestone, you've got other milestones like, clocking over $1 million in sales in a year. Those are just ridiculous numbers. In this game, there's nobody ringing the bell. So these things come quite quietly or quite silently. You know what I mean? You look at the financials. Whoa, I sold over $1 million worth of. I wish there was $1 million in profit, by the way, but we generated $1 million in revenue, or you've become the number one purchaser at your supplier out of when you used to you used to work for other businesses and you'd be the apprentice working for those. All of a sudden you're the guy that's buying the most stuff at this. So it's
kind of pinch me moments, right?
Yeah, but they come in silence. You got to sort of discover them for yourself, and you have a little moment. I think it's important to celebrate those moments as well, because otherwise they can
just fly by.
Or you don't, if you don't look hard enough, you may not even notice them. Like
of course. I like that.
Yeah. How did you celebrate your big moments then?
I don't know. I just had a quiet moment to myself, I suppose. I think I put a Facebook post on for that time that I saw the vans, and I had 102 likes or something from all my friends and family. So that was.
You did have a party this year.
I did have a party this year.
Yes.
To celebrate the 15 years and to celebrate
the
new premises, and 120 people came to that, and we had a big shindig. And
which are beautiful premises, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah.
Very clean.
We had enough booze to sink a small country. I think it was good. It was a good celebration.
Obviously, there's a flip side to the big wins. There's the dark times, the hard times. So what are your kind of battle scars?
Well, I've got a pretty major one, and I've only really just started talking about this one. I think I might have talked to you in our networking groups and stuff, but I will share it today. So I had a major theft from the business. Right, it was December 2018 to just before COVID in 2020.
Perfect timing.
Yeah. So I had someone working in my office that was falsifying the documents.
Okay.
And over 360 fraudulent transactions, and hold your breath for this number. This person stole a total of $196,000 from my business. So I usually get
that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's like 3 to 4 people working.
It's well and truly the net profit of that.
Yeah.
Any annual year. You know what I mean? So so that's probably the most significant.
How long did that go on for?
So it was it was about 18 months, from December 2018 through to about April 2020.
How did you figure it out?
So what they were doing was, we'd have busy accounts. We'd have money coming in, and we'd pay suppliers as you could. Say one day we'd pay Fujitsu, $2,000, $3,000, and $5,000. The $2,000 and the $3,000 would go to Fujitsu as normal, but on the $2,000, that she would change the. Oh, I said she. It's divided it by.
Yep.
It's honed it in. She would change that number to her own bank account and paid it into her own account. So when I would look over the accounts, it would say.
Oh, you would just see Fujitsu.
Fujitsu. Yeah.
So it looked normal.
Yeah. Until I dug into it, because I was like, my insurance was way too high, everything was way too high. I dug into it, and I think we paid a company called EC Credit Control. You guys know, you would know what that is, but for the people at home, that's like
they own bank debts, right?
Yeah,
or they chase bank debt.
It's like the special cousin of Baycorp, basically. It's the other one, or the lesbian sister. and there was a membership paid for there, and I was like, I don't want this membership for this thing. I'm trying to save money. You lose nearly $200,000. Your business is not running well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was trying to dig in, like, where is all our money going? Why is there nothing left? Why are we in every negative you can imagine? You know. So I rang EC Credit Control and I said, look, I don't want to. I've just paid you for a membership, but whether it's kind of done automatically or whatever. And they're like, sir, you've not paid us any money for a long time. There's been no money has come through. And I said, yes, I have. Look, this is your bank account number here, 6274. I've paid you. Sir, that's not our bank account, they said. And as I was on the phone to this man, I was clicking back on these other transactions and I would see the same number keep coming up over and over again. And I was like, oh, hang on, I'm going to call you back. I think I might have sorted this out.
Yeah.
So I stayed up till 12 o'clock that night, screenshotting every time I saw this number come up.
Yeah.
And I had to go to bed. Yeah, I had to go to bed at midnight because my hand was getting tired from screenshotting. So yeah, 360 fraudulent transactions over 18 months.
How did you figure out the bank account?
$195,000. Well, I phoned. I saw the suffix, which was I can't remember what it was, but let's say ANZ. So
Yep.
I rang ANZ and said, look, this I've got a problem with this bank account. It seems to be doing some possibly fraudulent things on my business account. Left it quite open,
Yep.
and they just had a little bit of a slip of the tongue. They just said XYZ, and I was like, I know who that is and where that, so that was the person that was sitting side by side with me every day in the office.
Was that person involved at all in the knowing that you're investigating or hearing you asking questions?
The person at the bank?
No, the person in the office.
Person in the office? No, I had to then hire a real kick-ass HR, like consulting lawyer type company.
Yeah.
And they got together all the information. By that count, it was only at about $50,000. We knew it was north of 50,000. You know, it takes a while to count up all of these and etc. And then we had to approach her and confront her. And, and she walked out that day and never came back. But the good thing was, that sounds horrific, and people are like, "Oh my God, I don't know how I survived that type of financial knock." Do you know what I mean? Like, that's huge money. But what helped was I had a great insurance policy behind me.
Okay.
So 56,000 of that I got paid back overnight.
Okay.
More or less. Good. So once you've had cash flow issues like that causes,
Yep.
that injection is just like, whoa, okay.
Breathe again.
Yeah. Breathe again, yeah. And there's also the relief of, I'm not as crap at business as I thought I was. There was someone that is actually just is the reason for this.
Yeah.
And then also the courts and the police were absolutely brilliant. They didn't send her to jail. They kept her out of prison so she could pay us back the money.
Yep.
And they put a part of her conviction was that she had to pay us back a further $100,000. So every week to this week and for the next 3 or 4 years still, I get a certain amount every single week to take us all the way back up to that.
Okay.
So it takes it from a $195,000 fraudulent thing. After all of this is done, it takes it down to about 40. So it's a bit easier to swallow. But
I've got 2 questions.
Yeah.
First of all, with losing all of that money, how did you make the decision to pay a kick-ass HR person if your coffers were already a bit like? How do you make that decision?
It was just something so huge that I knew I had to sort of fire this person on the spot, and I had to do that correctly. And the last thing I wanted to be up for was, a personal grievance or doing that in the wrong regard.
Yep,
Yeah.
true. Yeah. Okay, and then how's your trust now? Like, what have you done now when you're hiring people and you have to trust them?
I don't know. I've moved on from it quite quickly. I've got an amazing office manager that I've had there since that for 4 years. Yes, there's a few more stages to get through to when we're making payments and things like that, but it was just the wrong person. They were just, and since then I've had other businesses call me and say, "Hey, this person has left you off their CV, but we've found that she did work for you."
Yep.
And then I tell her the story that I've just told you, and you hear the phone just go quiet, and they're like, "Oh my God, we've got similar things happening at our business." So they're just crooks are crooks sort of thing. So
so make sure you do those reference checks before you hire.
That's right. There was
Yeah.
one guy that called me and he said, I haven't done the reference check yet, but my wife's making me do it. And I was like, okay, well, you better sit down for this because I need to share something with you. So, so that was a really bad. So there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, can I say, because obviously that would have been pretty depressing to go through, hard.
Yeah.
How did you look after yourself?
It was actually more of a relief than anything. Like I said before, it was
Yeah.
like, wow, I'm actually... Because you get into a mind state where like I must just be terrible at business, you know,
Yeah.
when you lose it, and then that relief was like, this is, you know, I'm not as bad as I thought I was, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So actually for me it was a positive thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so then obviously starting a business comes with unexpected challenges like that one.
Yep.
Is there anything else that you've kind of discovered along the way that perhaps would help somebody else?
Yeah, like I think the most challenging thing that I've found is when you do have people that finally move on. You might have key people in the business that move on or that sort of gobsmack you. The first one of those was pretty tough. I remember thinking, oh man, how am I going to get through this? But I've got through it 100% of the time for the last 30 times that people have come and go, and it's, you know, it's for a variety of reasons. A lot of them have started their own businesses or moved away or whatever it is. I had two key people, you know, in a small team, you know, less than 10 size team. Two key people, registered Sparkies, leave at the same time to open up their own business. That was quite a massive challenge, or just a massive hole that was sort of left in the...
I imagine that one would be half devastation, half pride.
Yeah.
You know, you've kind of trained them up to be amazing people enough to do their own business.
Yeah, definitely. And we're good friends to this day, and we still share work, and it's all good. But stuff like that is a real blindsider, you know, when you've got your family or unit. And all of a sudden you lose a chunk of those, especially if they're good people, good tradies.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be the same as good designers, good accountants. They're
Yeah.
hard to come by.
Yeah.
So I think
It's a very fuzzy line, right? Because at the end of the day, it's a job and all people are replaceable. So you got to have that kind of thinking.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the culture that you build and the trust and the banter and the relying on each other to get through just life in general creates a family kind of environment. So when it gets fractured a little bit, feels like a bad thing.
That's right. You've got the guys that are still left behind wondering, they feel the fracture as well. You know, that a lot of those people are role models to those people that are still behind. So that's probably one of the challenges that for anyone that's looking to do this, that they've sort of probably got to be...
Well, if you've done this 30 times ish, what is it that you do to jump in and not make it so fractured?
Just knowing that you've done it 30 times before brings some relief, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And having two at one time and still being okay, it's like, okay, I've done this
Done it before,
done this
do
deep.
it again.
Yeah, done it before, but and done it deep.
What about like looking after the team? Is there stuff that you do when somebody leaves?
There's obviously an exit interviews, etc. We always take them out for a big night to say thank you. All of them I've remained, apart from the lady that took all the money, I've remained good friends with, and you know, it's a small community, the electrical community, so we still share workers, and
Okay.
yeah, definitely.
Boxes and Briefs is proudly brought to you by Gilligan Shepherd, the problem solvers in business.
All right, Sam. So many entrepreneurs talk about business like it's a roller coaster. It's got its ups, and obviously you had a very big down with that one.
Yeah.
And the relief that came afterwards. But when running a business, you've got to look after your own mental health. So what do you do?
To keep the mental health in check?
Yeah.
Look, I'm still learning, and even I would like to hear some tips as well. But for me, just those almost cliche basics, you know, eating well, looking after yourself.
Yep.
Exercise is a huge one for me.
Yep.
I've had a big weekend of gymming finally when I got out of the routine, and I'm feeling amazing today. Probably the second best day of work in 2024 today, because I was in Australia when I was working on the outside there at the back of my sister's house in the sunshine. So there's a close second to that. So talking to you wonderful people. Running in the morning is a huge one for me. It's just enough to get the juices flowing and feeling healthy. I find if I do a full gym in the morning, I can be quite sort of it's almost
You've
too
got
much.
energy to burn.
Yeah, or just when I'm going to a desk, it's kind of like I'm overcharged, you know what I mean? So
okay.
this is just what works for me.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I run in the morning and in the gym as a bit of a reward at the end of the day, and that sort of
Okay.
goes with the sauna and the whole package. So
Yep.
yeah,
Every day.
as many days as I can. No, it doesn't happen every day, but I planned for it to happen every day.
One day,
but-
yeah.
one day it'll be every day. And then the other one that I jotted down was being a part of what you and I are big on, which is the networking groups.
Yeah.
It can be really lonely in this game, you know,
Yep.
especially when you go through the hard stuff. You
Yeah.
know, nobody's coming to save you, but
No.
you know, you can be a part of these communities. Like you and I are part of BNI. And those networking groups are a fantastic way, I feel, to kind
Yeah.
of have that community.
It's like a business support network.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So you were saying that, you know, when the good stuff and the wins happen, it's kind of a silent thing. Sometimes the dark stuff can be a bit silent as well.
That's it.
So
yeah.
when somebody else knows what's going on, I guess you just don't feel so alone in it all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just I think just still on the question of I think only 15 years in now am I actually able to come on here and tell stories like that. Like
Yeah.
I kept that to myself for the longest time, only till recently actually
Why?
talking about that.
Is it like
I
an
don't-
embarrassing
Yeah,
thing?
yeah. So I was going through a separation at the time, or
Yep.
we weren't married, but it was basically like a divorce. We had everything that a
Yeah.
divorce has, you know what I mean? So my eye wasn't on I trusted this person to look after it, and yeah, probably the embarrassment of having your eye off the ball, I suppose.
It happens to everybody though, right?
Yeah,
Something in some shape or form.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my buddy said to me, "No, don't feel bad, man. It's like your wife cheating on you. You know, you expect people will do the right thing. You know."
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can only hope for the best.
Yeah.
All right, so you've been in the game 15 years in this business.
Yep.
Has there been any like major things happen where you've had to drastically change or pivot or do something different?
Yeah, there has been. This one's going to be a positive pivot.
Yay.
Back in, when was it? It was a couple of years ago now. They changed the law. Or they had a requirement for New Zealand homes, tenanted homes, to reach certain levels of compliancy,
Yep.
certain levels of heating, draft. You know, just making it a better.
Is that the Healthy Homes?
Healthy Homes.
Ah,
I should have
okay.
called it by name, shouldn't I? Yeah.
Cool.
So Healthy Homes came out,
Yep.
and so property managers who used to, spend a couple of bucks here, a couple of bucks here to fix a PowerPoint or a light switch, all of a sudden they became our major spenders. You know,
Yeah.
we're rolling out, thousands of dollars, sometimes up to $5,000 per house for new ventilation fans and new heat pumps if they require
Yeah.
all of those things. There's a few other things, but those are the things that related to us.
Yeah.
And we're doing hundreds and hundreds. We've got lists of hundreds and hundreds of these properties. So we had to
Wow.
kind of change our entire business, the way that we operate. That's the specific stock that we keep. That's the sort of training that we need the guys to do is for these specific
Right.
things. There was certain ways that we had to manage all of this work, the logistics of sourcing all the products, etc. So that was a really positive pivot, and we're still, although that initial rollout has kind of slowed down quite significantly. Now it's still quite a big part of the business as well. People take on a new tenancy that hasn't had tenants in it before. They need all these things, the
Still
heat
gotta
pumps,
do it,
and
yeah.
So that was a really cool, quite a drastic pivot that went on for quite a few, probably 2 or 3 years. We were
Yeah.
Yeah.
hitting that, so it was
Yeah.
great.
You'd have to know what you're doing too, so now you'd be the experts in it.
Well, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, what's the most valuable piece of advice to anybody who's looking at doing their own business at the moment?
Yeah, I think there's a few of them, if I can
Okay,
share. Yeah,
of
so
course.
so my top ones, or the ones that I thought of prior to this, was set up the foundations correctly. Get a great accountant. Get your Xero set up properly. Like it's going to be so much more work to do it later, which is kind of the method that I took, was just start, do your invoices on a, Word document or whatever. But yeah, if you jump straight into Xero, jump straight into a JMS or a job management system, job management program, your Fergus, your SimPros. In our game, I'm sure that you guys have got, similar workflow
Yep.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to think about it maybe in 5 years' time. What not necessarily what you need now as a one-man or two-man band, but what you'll need in 5 years' time. So something that will be able to grow with you. You know, your management systems and stuff like that, and that people are your everything. You're only gonna get a certain way without people helping you to do.
Yeah,
what
you
you're
can't
doing.
do it all yourself.
Can't do it all yourself, but not everybody is going to be the right person for your job. So I would advise, or my advice would be to not hire someone just because they are available and because they are there. Hire someone because they are awesome, and they will likely be hard to find, but once you find them, they will be awesome. You want to play into the genius of that person. People are good at different areas in life. Some people suck at certain things, but some people are amazing at certain things. Find that person and get them doing what they are amazing at.
Yeah.
And get yourself a business coach. Get some sort of training, some sort of accountability for the business as well.
Yeah, so it's not just all in your head.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or tell them you want to grow. You're starting out. I'm one person. I want to take this to 10 people first, and then
The big dream.
double it again, and
Yep.
triple that. So and that's the vision, and someone to hold you accountable. You know what I mean?
Well, then what is your vision? What are
What
you
is my
looking at
vision?
in the future for First Point Electrical?
So there's 9 members of the team at the moment. I
Yeah.
want to double that team size. We want a solid. I just now need to create more of a solid management structure. That's an estimator full time in the office. That's a full-time operations manager. Once we've got to those kind of numbers, or probably slightly before that, I have an end goal of 5 million in revenue with a 15% net profit within the next 5 years.
Okay.
And I am very interested in franchising the business. I'd like to become maybe another Laser, another GoFox, another
Yep.
First Point Electrical.
Yep.
And I think I've got another 10 solid years. And I'd maybe like to look at selling it by the time I'm 50. So there you go.
Early retirement.
Revealing my age there. So yeah, giving it another, and I mean, by that stage I would have been in this game for 30 years. So
But where did you get these numbers from? Is it just pull a number out of the air?
I'm a part of a business coaching program for tradies called Profitable Tradie, and they make us really dial in on all of the stuff. So I've been a part of that for 18 months.
Okay.
It's very, very good. It's changed the structure of our business and systems and processes and all that.
Yep.
It's very, very expensive, but very, very good. When people ask you what's your vision, you can tell them exact, precise numbers and net profits and stuff like that.
So you're on top of your game.
Yeah, well, I will be if I'm pulling those numbers. Yeah.
Oh, look forward to seeing it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Sam.
No worries. Hopefully it's been enjoyable.
Yes, of course.
I've had a great time.
If our listeners want to get a hold of First Point Electrical, what do they need to do?
Best thing is just to jump on the website, firstpoint.co.nz. First is FIRST, not 1ST. Jump on there. All our contact information is there. Plus, we've had a fresh new website made, and it's looking beautiful.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, well, go check it out, listeners. And thank you again for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome.
Boxes and Briefs is proudly brought to you by Gilligan Shepherd, the problem solvers in business.